Hello, everyone. This is Sarjan. Today, I have invited one of my colleagues. Actually, she is the first vegan person in my life I have ever met. We met 7 years ago. Back then, veganism is not as popular in my life. And I think we didn't talk about this topic before with Yuta. But today, we are going to talk about the life as a vegan with her. And I would like to ask more details about being vegan. Hello, Uta. Welcome.
Hi, Zakkan. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too. First of all, could you please tell about yourself?
Well, I'm now 52. I had became, speaking about the topic, vegan, maybe by now it's probably 15 years ago. And I kept being vegan for probably 7, 8 years. Still vegan is my favorite food, I would say, and it's still part of the lifestyle, but I'm no longer fully vegan due to health reasons, basically. But I still really much enjoy the food overall and the concept even more so.
Right. And how many years have you been vegan? You said 7 or 15 years?
I became vegan about 15 years ago, and I stayed vegan for probably 7, 8 years. And okay, even now, today, I would say I'm still probably 80%, 80, 90% vegan.
Okay, great. Then you are the right person, then I can ask these questions. What does vegan mean for you? Could you please make a short summary about the concept? Is the way of eating? Is it a cultural change? Or is it philosophy? How do you see it?
It's probably a bit of everything, but it really is driven from the fact that you don't want to harm animals. That's like the base layer foundation, I would say. And that spans, many people associate it only with food, let's say. So we wouldn't eat meat, fish, any type of, not only animals themselves, but also products that come from animals. So no dairy, obviously, because you would take away. And the concept is you're not harming animals. So that when you think about dairy, you would take away the food from the cows, right? So that's why you don't eat it. Same for honey. If you think about honey, which I think a lot of people actually don't know, when you take honey, you're taking away the food from the bees that they save for the winter, right? So you don't eat honey. That's from a food's perspective. So nothing from the animals, basically. And then, but it's also part of the overall lifestyle. So that means you wouldn't buy any leather products, you wouldn't wear any leather shoes, leather bags, anything from the animals, you're strictly against it because you don't want to have other human beings or other beings suffering because of your lifestyle, basically, or your comfort in life.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And how did your vegan life begin? Because of this philosophy? And how did you choose that way 15 years ago? Let's think about this.
So it wasn't on my plan. I kind of came into it. I mean, I never was a big fan of meat, let's say. Never, ever. Even as a child, I still remember when I was growing up, there was this thing that when you would go to the butchers, they would give you a little bit of a sausage, especially here in Germany. And I still remember, I still even have this taste in my nose when we entered the butcher where I went like, wow, no, thank you. And then I did my yoga teacher training in New York. And it was a 6 weeks intense program. And by default, everyone had to be vegan. So there wasn't even any other food. And it was in a very remote area, north state from New York, where you couldn't even walk to a village to get something, nothing, no supermarket, no nothing. I mean, there was just let's say the center, and then there was a huge landscape, and then there was like for probably 5 miles nothing until you went to the next village, and all we got was vegan food. And I still remember, I think it was about a week or so in, and we had this little doorman rooms. And I once in the evening, I came back to the room, and then I thought, like, what is this smell? It was just a really awful smell. And I turned the mattress up and down. I looked through the entire room. I couldn't find anything. It was just really, it smelled a little bit like a slaughterhouse, I have to say. And it was there for like 2-3 days. And then after those 2-3 days, it all of a sudden disappeared. And that was from basically when you switched over to vegan, it was the whole body and the smell from the body that changed. And that really, that I think was shocking for me, that although I really didn't eat a lot of meat by no means. And I still could smell it when the body, was turning over. And I also felt so much better. Like ever since I went vegan, I never had this feeling of having when you have a really good meal and then you sit and you go like, it was too much. And that never happened. Yeah. So I just felt 50 times better. And it's also, I think the really good thing about it is that you don't contribute to suffering. Yeah. So I think that everyone has to make their own decisions. But for me, even now, when I sometimes do eat meat, I would never buy any artificial meat. So it would always come from an organic farm where the animals were treated well. And when I eat it with a lot of respect. So I would never throw away meat or any of that the minute I did. Never, ever. Yeah.
After you started being vegan, we understand that there was a very positive change in your body, right? With your energy, with this toxic thing because of the smell. It was good. After you again started a little bit eating these animal products, is there a negative change again, or you?
So it was, for me, I had blood anemia twice. Along with the iron that went down. And I was really looking after, like when I was having the vegan diet, I would still look at, that I really get all the vitamins and all the balance within the food, which I think is also easier when you eat vegan. I think you take a lot more attention to what you eat versus when you vegetarian, because you just eat a lot of cheese and that stuff, which we never did. So, but even then I got blood anemia twice, and I mean, like really, really bad. And then my doctor said, well, there's, you can take artificial stuff in order to keep it, because in some cases people can't transform the iron that you get from the veggies in the same way that other people can. Like for me, and that's a genetic thing. Yeah. So either you can completely transform it, or you can't, because I ate a lot of iron actually and still couldn't come up to the level that I needed. So the choice was, do I take anything artificial? And then I said, I mean, that doesn't make any sense to me. I'm not going to go vegan and then eat artificial chemicals, to keep my diet the way where I should. And then I'd rather go back and eat the food that's really meant for the body, but do it with a very strong intention. Yeah. And ever since, I never had problems again. And I can tell even now, and I think that comes with that sensitivity. I did an experiment then with my doctor when she said, it's too low, and I said, okay, let's test it, because I could literally feel it in my body when I had these cravings, because I normally never have cravings on meat, never ever, never since I can think of. But there were only certain moments in life where I went like, okay, now I could really deal with meat. And then we did a test of my blood, and that was the point where I really needed it. And then I ate it, and then it was gone again. So it's not like I do this every week or whatever. It's just every now and then.
Yeah, I get it. You listen your body, and then it's saying something to you, and we need to listen our body all the time. I think this is the key for all nutrition models, all diets, everything.
Correct.
And when you were vegan, I know that you are doing sports in yoga as well. How was your energy level? Because everybody thinks that when you're eating only vegetables, then your muscle will be not very powerful, and you were going to be a little bit less energy. And how was it? And how do you describe those days?
I didn't experience it, I have to say. So for me, it was same. I would say it's not like I would be full of energy or of no energy. But that wasn't any difference. I think the difference, was more in terms of that I didn't have this fullness in my body where you go like, you know, when you, like I do a lot of mountain hiking as well, and then you walk up and then you eat those huge meals in the evening, and when you eat more vegan food, it's less of this being so stuffed. Yeah, I think that's probably the difference. And I think the other difference is you think a lot more what you eat, and that's actually driving it. Yeah, so I don't think it's, a lot of people say when they go vegan, they have a lot more of energy, and I think it's not the food, it's, or it's not being vegan, it's more listening more careful to your body and really eating the things that are good for you. Yeah, because you have a better sense for it. And that's what's really driving the energy, in my personal opinion. But, you know, people might
I like it. I think it's about focus. When you focus yourself, when you think about yourself and putting some good things in your body, then your body is answering.
Your body tells you what you need.
I like it. I like this idea. We need to listen to our body. Okay, what about the cuisines? As you mentioned, when you were a child in Germany, it's not easy because you are eating meat, sausages, everything. And I know that now in Germany, there are several vegetarian food and lots of, I think, programs and brands for it. But 15 years ago, it was not easy to find vegan food, right? Especially in the cafes, restaurants, or How did you manage it? How did you find something to eat?
I think you just need to be not complicated. You know, I think you could always, because I live in a city, so it's obviously a lot easier than when you live in the countryside. But so I could still get tofu and other things. And it was interesting because you need to look at where you can get certain things. You also try a lot more different things as well. Like, I don't think I have eaten like tahini before, which is, you know, I mean, in your culture, it's like everywhere. Here, not so much, right? And I found a lot of food that I really, really liked. And in restaurants, and people ask me this all the time, or people say like, oh, I don't know, what do we give you when you come over? And it's so easy. There's always salad, and there's always penne arrabbiata. Yeah. So if it's really easy. Yeah, if you're not complicated, it's not complicated.
Actually, well, it is about your perception, I think, because I would just ask about traveling, because I'm traveling too, but you're traveling more than me. You are traveling all around the world, in US to other Europe countries, everywhere you need to eat something. And time to time you are in the meetings and you need to eat all the things that the people are eating.
Or you don't.
Did you have such a, I don't know, example or a story that you couldn't eat or you couldn't find? Or
I think there were many, like, especially when you have those meetings, what you typically get is, you know, the little breads or baguettes or stuff like that. But then I have to say, even pre-vegan, I always hated them because I just think, you know, they just make you tired, and you just sit there, and it was never my type of food. So for me, it wasn't a big deal. So I'd rather eat, and normally, unless I'm not like really, really craving, I'd rather eat nothing than I eat bad food. Pre and post vegan. And then, I mean, worst case, you just carry an apple or something with you.
And you find something to eat everywhere. But just you need to be a little bit maybe hungry, not as full as the other people. I can imagine. Because once we were in France with you, I remember that in a restaurant, it was a meat restaurant. Everybody ate meat. And there was a plate for you only with vegetables and some raw vegetables on it. And I was wondering if you are still hungry or not. But I think it is managing your appetite. It's about the energy of appetite.
And it's I would always prefer veggies over meat, I have to say. And that was the case even before. So even before, I wasn't a big fan of meat overall. And then even now, I still have, like, you know, when like in our industry, you know, they think they need to go to this great steakhouses and God knows what else. And I just still, I mean, even now I still sit there, and when I think that's what life just does with you as well. So every time we go someplace and they go to the steakhouse, and then there is this loads of meat, what they typically serve, and it sits right in front of my face. And then there's this blood coming out, and I'm just sitting there. For me, it's harder to look at that, because I literally, I feel like I need to throw up, if I'm very honest. And that probably takes away all the appetite anyways. So somehow it's you know, somehow I think it's self-cleaning in some sense.
Yeah, that socializing part is not easy, especially in business, because you need to go with a team, and that
and you don't want to be overcomplicated as well. You know, I think I'm not. I mean, I know there's plenty of people that go like, oh, I can't eat this. And I still remember when, like the time when I was fully vegan, and especially in the US and in the whole yoga community specifically, I mean, they were going like all the way to the edge when they thought like, you know, even if someone put meat in a refrigerator, they thought the whole refrigerator was contaminated. And I'm going like, you know, I mean, take it easy. I think it's just everybody's own decision what they want to eat. But I would also say, I mean, I'm not super fussed about it, but sometimes I, you know, like the situations in the steakhouse where I go like, you know, if we could avoid a steakhouse, I would appreciate it.
At least a Mediterranean restaurant is
always
great.
Find something, you know, as I said, worst case, salad, penne arrabbiata. Always doable.
Yeah, actually in our Turkish culture, cuisine, and we are eating a lot of vegetables, and we are doing vegetable products with olive oil. That's why it is helping us to manage it easily.
Totally. I think the whole Middle East, Asia, easy. Right? Yeah.
Easier compared to more Europe countries, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. And actually right now, as we talk, there are a lot of vegan foods, vegan packaged foods, and you can easily find, especially in Europe supermarkets, I think.
Yeah.
But there are also still packaged foods and some junk foods, and there are some additional flavor in it. What do you think about them? How do you choose while you are eating or you are preparing some vegan foods? Do you use those products?
No,
or do you prefer?
I normally cook myself. And that was the other nice thing about it, because I really, re-experienced cooking, I have to say, which I really liked, and tastes and flavors, and I still love it. And I mean, like, still when we cook at home, I would cook vegan. Even my boyfriend cooks vegan. I would say 95% of the time, definitely. And I don't buy processed food, but I never did. Even before, I never did it. So for me, it wasn't a big change. I thought I'd miss cheese. I thought I'd miss eggs. I really never did, if I'm super honest. Yeah, it's just you get over with it. But I'm not a fan of processed food, and I think a lot of the processed food that you find now is actually the industry adopting to the trend.
Yes, agree. That's why it's junk food as well. It's not healthy food as well, right?
It's not getting better because it's vegan.
Yeah. Actually, about the nutrition, I think we need to understand the healthy food and the not healthy food, which is junk food. We can be vegan, or you can be vegetarian, or you can eat everything.
You can eat everything as long as it's healthy.
Yes, as you mentioned, it should be healthy, and it should be whole foods, and it should be more natural ones.
Correct.
Okay. It is my last questions. For example, if I would like to be a vegan, or someone listening this video, if there is small tactics to make it more easily or smoothly to being vegan, can you give some examples to do how we can make it easily for our lives?
Easier I think one thing I would say is, don't start with I'm only going to eat raw veggies, or I just continue with what I do eat, just skip let's say the meat or the dairy or the honey. But I think you can start with skipping meat, I would also buy a cookbook for vegan food that's not too complicated, or like there's some really good ones like I don't know, books that focus on veggie food, and start there, because with all the new tastes that you get in life, it will make you more excited, and you don't have the feeling like you're skipping something, but you're receiving something instead. That to me really, I think, made me stick to it for such a long time, because I loved all the different flavors, the different textures, and it wasn't the feeling of I'm missing out on something, but it was a feeling of gaining something new.
Yeah, it's like a celebration, like a vegan dinner, like a vegan week. And if you, as you mentioned, when you cook something, you really like to eat it. I mean, it's a new thing, and it makes you more energetic about this.
Correct.
Then after you started to eat such kind of things, then you will not miss your old cuisine a lot.
Yeah,
it is happening every day. Actually, I'm not eating also dairy products because of some intolerance issues in my downs. That's why I don't want to eat it, because it is really harming my body after I ate it. That's why I'm trying to find different way of products and way of the meals, and it is helping me. That cookbooks or that diets are helping me really to make it easier.
Yeah. And I think for me, the easiest really was to skip dairy, but that's, I mean, meat and dairy for me was really no problem at all. But I think that really depends on your body as well, you know, or what you're used to, or what you know, if you just always ate a lot of meat and you like the taste of meat, obviously it might be harder for you. For me, it wasn't hard because I never was a big meat eater. Same for dairy.
It is the only hardest part for me is the socialization part. When you're with your family, big family, I mean, when you're celebrating something all together, when someone is doing barbecue, it's not easy to manage it. But when you're doing by your meal with your family, with your small family, let's say, it is easy to manage it. I think you need to start step by step with some baby steps.
Agree.
We will see.
I mean, don't go. That would be my advice. Don't go all in one go. You know, start with small things, and then I think over time you will notice that more and more you don't even want it anymore.
Without pressure as a brand with that title, but only enjoying the positive effect in your body.
Yes, it needs to be joyful. You know, not punishing.
We need to enjoy our life as well. It's not punishment, really. I agree. We need to enjoy whatever we are doing, which is good for our body. We will choose, and we will see, and we will live with it.
Agree. And that's, I mean, you know, and I think just give things a try. I mean, I never liked mushrooms. I know they're super big in vegan. I still don't eat them. I just can't stand the taste. I can't stand the texture. I'm not eating it. Then there's other things, you know, that I found like tempeh or many other things that I just really, really love, where I would skip any other food. So I think it's just about trying and tasting and, you know, looking at what's good for you.
Thank you.
Both mentally and tasting.
Yes. It is starting with mentally, and then it is coming to your body, I think.
Yeah.
We need first.
And I also think don't be too hard on yourself. If you have this craving for something, I personally think if you have a craving for something, your body tells you something. Yeah. I mean, well, probably we also sometimes eat chocolate. But still, I still think if you really crave for something, then I personally think I'd rather eat it, but I really look at where I buy it, how it's been grown, eating with, especially when it comes to I think to any kind of animal sourced food, eat it with respect, because something died for you. I mean, you know, and if you do that, I think it's better to do it that way than buying a whole lot of artificial stuff. My personal opinion, but I think that's if you go to a fully vegan person, they would say never ever. Yeah. So I think these are decisions at some point that you need to make for yourself.
Yeah. Actually, I think if we respect to our food and if we focus like our business, really, we are going to know which is good for our body.
Correct.
Body
I totally
knows
agree.
it.
And I think it's
just
also,
we don't know what we are eating most of the times with when we are
and
traveling or
I
when
think
we are.
also it's not just. I mean, we know each other for many years, but I think it's also to be a bit senseful. Yeah, I mean, where's the sense when you eat avocado a day, which is super healthy, the vegan food, but you know at the same time you're damaging a lot of landscape. Even if you buy it in Spain, you're damaging a lot of landscape. Mm-hmm. So do I really need an avocado a day, or can I not just say, well, you know, I like it, so I eat it every now and then, but I try to buy stuff that's grown here, that's grown locally, that's grown organically. Mm-hmm. I eat within, you know, what's available in the season. And is that not for the planet? Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, I don't want to say the better decision, but a decision to also consider. Yeah.
Yeah, we need to consider every decision we are doing for ourselves and for the planet, for our body, for our environment, everything. We need to think about this really in these days, especially.
Use common sense is how I call it.
Common sense. Yeah. Use common sense, enjoy the life. And this is a gift for us, actually,
it is.
Enjoying this life.
And it's good to really think about what you eat. And I think that's what I probably really liked about it and why I kept, I mean, other than the fact that I just really love the food. For me, it's always, if I'd have the choice between vegan, vegetarian, regular, or whatever else food, my option will always be vegan, unless it's mushrooms. but I mean, the consciousness, I think that's what we should all be thinking about.
I agree. Thank you very much, Uta. Thank you very much for sharing your experiences, your opinions with me today. And it was so valuable, really. Really, thank you very much for your coming this video today.
Thank you.